On the Business Courier front page centerpiece this week, it's being described as a game changer. It is the possibility of an increased presence by the University of Cincinnati at the banks in Cincinnati's urban core. UC's top brass is considering whether to build a new college of law at the banks. It's a trend throughout cities across the country. UC officials are reluctant to discuss their deliberations in much detail, and UC President Santaono declined to share his thoughts. But the chairman of the UC Board of Trustees has spoken favorably about it, and Red CEO Bob Castellini backs the idea. Many say such a move could help the banks transform into what leaders have long envisioned, a place where people live, work, shop, and eat, even when there's no game or event. Business Courier reporter Chris Wetterick reported this story, including looking into the impact of urban campuses on other cities. He joins Business Courier editor Rob Dawmeyer in the studio with more. Chris and Rob.
Thank you so much, Chris. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Great story on the cover about UC at the banks. We have a really cool arrow pointing down to the riverfront and kind of a question mark as to could UC really move some of its programs down to the banks. And really, so the first question is, why would UC even consider this? It's a giant campus in Clifton, but it's a very self-contained area. Why would they even look at this?
Well, they need a new law school, and there's not an obvious site, at least that they have right now, on campus. I mean, they've you know, it's not the first time the city and the county and the folks who planned the banks have tried to get UC down there. They really wanted the basketball team down at the arena.
Right.
UC said no. You know, there was talk in years past of UC playing at Paul Brown. They said no to that. But this I think has a little bit more of a chance because they don't have an obvious site on campus to you know, to put that law school campus. And in UC's mind, if they put the law school on the banks, they're near the law schools, they're near the court systems. It gives their students real life experience in that legal community on a daily basis. And I think that's the reason they're going to take a look at it.
It would, theoretically, if this were to work, it could possibly be things other than the law school. Is that correct?
Right. I mean, I think the law school is the prime potential candidate at this point, but they didn't rule anything out when we talked with them. They were a little bit reluctant to speak in great detail about this. President Ono, who is not shy normally, he declined to talk to us about it. We talked to the UC board chairman, Tom Humes, about it on several occasions, and he said he confirmed the law school was under consideration, and that's what they're talking about.
Well, it makes a lot of sense from a distance, but specifically, what would some of the benefits be? You mentioned that it would be next to some law firms, and it would integrate itself into the city. Some reasons that they might not do this, or that it just on paper would not be a good idea, would be what?
Well, the transportation issue is a big one for them. It would be difficult, you know, for students to get back and forth from campus. The story also talks about Arizona State University. They have a direct light rail connection between their Tempe campus and downtown Phoenix campus, which is growing. So they see that as a main obstacle at this point. One of the interesting things that folks talked about was that 90% of the law school campus or law school classes are within the law school itself. So there's maybe less of a need to get back and forth to Clifton, you know, if the law school is down at the banks as compared to other schools.
Right. A final question, though, and you just touched on it. Arizona State University did something where they moved a lot of its programs into downtown Phoenix. Talk a little bit about what that has meant and how that went for that city.
It was a big deal for Phoenix. Phoenix wanted a university downtown. They didn't have, or they wanted one in their city limits. They weren't necessarily even concerned about being downtown, but Arizona State had an interest in having an urban campus, and they have built a quite substantial campus there. Their School of Journalism is there. Their law school will eventually be going there this fall. So they have a big presence there. The mayor of Phoenix, whom I talked to, he said it's been a game changer for their downtown, having all those students there and that vitality. It's really been a shot in the arm to a downtown that was really kind of rolling up the sidewalks at 5 o'clock. So I think that UC has a little bit smaller scale ambitions at this point, but you never know.
Well, we're early, obviously, into this the discussion here, and as Chris said, UC isn't talking yet, but everything's got to start somewhere, and UC does need a new College of Law, so we'll have to see what happens. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
And thanks.